everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Megan, and I'm back with another library book haul predictions revealed video where I'm going to be talking about my last 4 library books. And these were them. So, let's jump into it. The first book that I read was You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. This book that everybody loved, and now I understand why everybody loved. I rated this 5 stars. I mean, I went back and forth between if I wanted to rate it 4 or 5 stars, but in the end I'm like, this was a really just a cute, I mean, it had a little bit of everything. It had like really cute moments. There were queer moments, which I was like, oh, this is cute. There was a little bit of sadness, a little bit of heartbreak, and then you got like friends reconnecting, friends disconnecting. Like, it just had a little bit of everything going on in it. So, the premise is that our main character, what was her name again? Liz. I don't know how I forgot. So, Liz wants to go and study music, and she needs a scholarship in order to get into the school that she wants, and then she finds out that she doesn't get the scholarship money, and so now she's like, what am I going to do? So, in this small town, like, I'm like, this is something that I never knew was a thing. So, in this small town, when you, so you nominate yourself, or, well, I guess you don't nominate yourself, but you put yourself into, like, the prom committee or whatever, and so it's basically a competition for prom queen and king, and so basically, like, you have a set certain amount of boys and a set certain amount of girls, and they each have to do, like, activities, and it gets them points, and then all those points accumulate, and they get into the top tier to become prom king and queen, and like, into the court. There's a lot that's happening here. I'm like, whoa, this is intense. But anyways, needless to say, the winner, whoever wins prom king and queen gets, like, I can't remember how much it was, $10,000 or something. It was like there's a grand prize. And basically that's the only reason Liz is going to join prom, is because she's like, I need that money. And I was like, this is crazy to me. Like, wow. But it was just a really fun experience because, like, not only was she, like, joining it for the money, but, I mean, she really learned a lot about herself, too, because she's like, oh, her mom, who had passed, also wanted to join prom, and then, like, you see, like, why her mom maybe, like, but didn't end up joining prom, because her grandma was like, maybe you shouldn't, kind of thing. And you got to see, like, the difference between generations, how the grandma was like, oh, I regret telling your mom that. Like, go do what you want to do, basically. And, like, it was good to see characters who were friends, like there were characters that weren't friends reconnect, and then characters that were friends starting to, like dissipate. That's not the word I'm looking for, but, like, it was just, there was a lot happening, and, I mean, it was just a fun, like, there was a cozy feel to it. That's what I'm going to say with this. I feel like I've spoken on this book for too long. But, yeah, I definitely highly recommend this one. It's a really good one. The next book, oh, they're stuck together. I hate when that happens. The next book was The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. This was book number 2 in this Montague sibling trilogy. I rated it 3.5 stars. My problem with this, I have a few problems. My number 1 problem was this felt very plotless. Like, I felt like we were aimlessly going on and on and on and on and on. And I'm like, how is this gonna end? I'm very confused. Like, it just kept going for pages on pages and on pages. Like, it was great to see Felicity as a character, although I also didn't really like her in her own point of view either. Like, she was just so, I mean, I loved that she was going for the thing that she wanted, and I mean, I also liked her progression because, like, she's like, I'm going to go and do this, and she went and did it, and then realized that who she thought her hero was turned out not to really be who he was, which, spoiler alert, always seems to be the case. And so she ends up having to rely on other people to kind of help her get to where she wants to be, and also to, like, realize, like, her mindset. Like, she's like, she was so dead set on being a doctor, and, like, in the doctor and the man's, in the sense that how a man sees being a doctor, and not how, like, maybe not that, like, the traditional way is not the only way to be a doctor. So she really had to open up and learn that, which I thought was really great. Because the other thing that I didn't like was how she treated her friend, Like, they were really good friends growing up. What was her, Joanna or whatever her name was? And then all of a sudden when Joanna was started wanting to like do more girly things, she was like, oh my gosh, you're being a typical female. Like, she got really like, I was like, girl, girls are allowed to be like all kinds of things. Like, that doesn't make them any less than a girl or a woman, you know, like, so that I really, but I mean, she learned a lot, like, because she ended up having to befriend Joanna again, and that's who ended up helping her. And so she kind of had to get past that mentality that she had in her head. She has a very man's man mentality. And I was just like, yeah, girl, you need to break that down. So I appreciated that, and I got that. But yeah, like I say, this kind of just went on and on and on and on and on for way too many pages. I also appreciated that the author went into, like, she did a lot of research into women of the time, because this takes place in the 1700s. So it was really cool to see, like, that a lot of these characters were based on actual real women. So it was really cool. So I'm giving it a 3.5 because it was good. There was a lot going on. There was a lot that, a lot of learning, but it just didn't hit me the way I wanted it to hit me. So 3.5. The next book was We Were Dreamers by Simu Liu. This was his memoir, and I really enjoyed it. I rated it 4 stars, and the reason it's not a 5-star read was because I feel like he wrote his memoir too soon. I mean, yes and no. I feel like he could probably write another memoir in like 20 years' time, because it was really good to see him, like, from the way, like, his, when he was born. He even did a whole backstory on his parents, which I thought was really, really, like, smart. And, like, it really helped us understand his parents as people, because then it really helped us understand how they raised him and how his life was different from their life and how, like, their generations were clashing. So it was very, like, smart of him to add those chapters in, because as a reader, you're like, I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, I'm like, can you be a little more lenient? But I mean, that's also coming from, like, our generation where we see things just a little bit differently, whereas they see things more black and white. And so it was just really interesting to get that. And, like, he was so open and so candid about the relationship that he has with his parents, because it wasn't an easy relationship. He was always fighting with them. They did not see eye to eye. And it's kind of like there was a hole where he was fighting with them, and then, like, he graduated university, went to do his job, hated his job, then decided he was going to do acting, and then all of a sudden, like, his parents were kind of, like, okay with it. Like, there wasn't enough, like, reconciliation or, like, something that happened that, like, switched and now they're on good terms. Like, there wasn't enough there, and I feel like there still is a lot of healing and working through all of that he still has to go through at this point in his life now. So that's why I say there's probably going to be another memoir after, like, in the next however many years of his career. But I also thought that it was great that he wrote this now too, because this also dived into, he always wanted to be a superhero. From the very young age, he's like, I want to be a superhero, Guess what? Now he is a superhero in a Marvel movie, so it was really good that, like, it was just also really well done. So those were my thoughts on this. So I thought it was, and I also read this in his voice the entire time. So, and he's actually a really good writer, and, like, he talks about it too, where he's like, I've always been able to just, like, wing interviews and, like, write really well. And I'm like, yeah, it's very evident here that you can write very well and you can articulate yourself very well. So he really made that point, and I really liked that. And I think he is funny. Sometimes actors are not always comedians, and they think that they are, but he's actually quite witty, and he's very good at sarcasm and very good at just, like, knowing when to tone up the funny in, like, and tone down the funny in, like, more serious topics. So I thought that was, like, really well done. So yeah, that's why I rated it 4 stars, because it just kind of felt like we were missing something. But I mean, still, really good, really good. I highly recommend this, especially if you are a fan of his acting, because it really does give you a whole insight into him that you would never really know. The last book I read was Grist Mill Road by Christopher J. Yates. I haven't written I haven't written an actual review for this one yet. That's gonna come soon. By the time this is up, I'm sure I'll have a review on my blog, but I don't know what I thought about this one. I rated it 2.5 stars. On Goodreads, I was generous and gave it a 3-star, but it's really like a 2.5. I really wanted to rate it 2. I might lower it. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided. But I don't know what this was about. That's the problem. Like, so this takes place in 1982, and it also takes place in 2008. And so basically, there's an event that happens in 82, and then now we're in the future in 2008 looking back at what happened in 82. And so basically, I don't even know who the main character is, because there's 3 characters. What's wrong with my fingers? There's 3 main characters. I don't know who's supposed to be the main one, because it switches all the time. Each one of them has their own, like, point of view, and then when you go into the future, it sometimes switches, even though it says at the top it'll say a person's name, but sometimes midway it'll switch. I'm like, what is going on? Who's talking? Because in 1982, it's not always in first person, now that I think about it, because in 1982, in Matthew's point of view, it's in second person for some reason. It switches point of views too much. It's third point of view in the future, second point of view for Matthew for some reason, and first point of view for Patrick in 1982. It's so confusing, and I don't get the point, and the ending didn't do anything for me. Like, it was supposed to be, I think, like a surprise ending, and I was like, so what happened here? And the characters felt so, like there was no connection. They felt so, like, disconnected from everything. Like, I'm like, I don't like any of these characters. They're all so, like, I'm like, there's nothing likable about any of them. Like, they all struggled through their own issues, but I'm like, I don't like any of them. What I did like, and what I like when shows, movies, books do this, is they have one event, and, like, you get each point of view with that one event, because nobody ever sees the same thing, you know? So I thought that was very interesting to watch different people's point of view about the same event happen, because no one actually knows what the truth is until you get to the end of the book, and you're like, that's the twist, that's the turn. I'm like, okay. I'm still not quite sure what the turn is, I think. I was reading and I still don't get it, and I feel like a lot of people were like, that was it? So, I mean, I'm not alone in that camp. So, yeah, it was just a very strange book. Like, it's supposed to be a mystery thriller, but I didn't feel thrilled, or there was no mystery to me. I was just like, this is okay, cool. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say about this other than I didn't enjoy this, and I don't know what else to say, so. Okay, before I waste any more of everybody's time, these were my last 4 library books. I mean, we had some winners. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. We had some winners. So these were them. If you've read any of these books if you've read any of these books, put it in the, I threw the book that I didn't like. Put it in the comments below. Let me know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe, a do your thing, and I will see you all in my next video. So thanks, and bye, guys!